So next we have our DDA. So Emily has been gracious enough to put a PowerPoint together tonight and is here to explain all things downtown. And I'm so excited because I forgot to invite Emily last year, so I screwed this all up last year. So I'm grateful to have a second year to try better. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, everyone. My name is Emily Verbeke. I am a downtown business owner here in right here on Superior Street at the bakery. And so I've been a member of the DDA board since right around 2019. So I got just barely a year in before the pandemic rolled in to the DDA. And so it's, as I was reflecting back just recently on just the recent year activity, there's been a lot of growth and change within the DDA board as a whole. And part of it, I think we recognized how resilient and driven downtown businesses, residents of Albion are to open businesses, to run businesses. We had 7 businesses open during the pandemic, which was, seemingly unheard of. And a lot of those plans were put in place, but it was really amazing to see how many businesses committed to being downtown in some of the most challenging times, and they continue to exist there. So I think that that's really a testament to our community and those who want to serve the community here in Albion. So the Downtown Development Authority update is a part of one of our required additional information sessions for the public outside of our regular scheduled meetings. And so it's really great that we can do this when we already are collecting as a community and have this opportunity. And so if you aren't familiar, the Downtown Development Authority meets monthly on the second Wednesday of the month. We're early risers at 7:30. So if anybody wants to join us over at City Hall on Wednesday mornings, our next meeting will be a week from today. Yesterday. I'm like, what day is it? I get my days all mixed up. So go ahead and go to the next slide. Our current members include Dave Atchison, who is a resident and owner in the downtown district, Councilmember Nora Jackson, Victoria Snyder as the mayor, Jim Stewart, who is also a business owner in downtown, Andrew Tesdale is a resident of downtown, myself, and then James Whitehouse, who is a community at large member as a part of the organization. So the DDA is made up of both business owners or individuals who have a vested interest in the downtown, residents of the downtown, and then community members at large. So you can go ahead and go to the next one. So the DDA continues to really ensure that we are continuing our discussions and our alignment to be within our downtown development plan. It can be really easy for boards to move beyond into some new ideas that are outside of the scope of development plans that they might have worked very hard to sort of establish and are meant to look at 5 or 10 years out. And so I think the board has done a really good job of continuing to revisit that document, not have it be something that just sort of sits on the shelf. A lot of effort was put into that as a part of Albion's Project Rising Tide, which was, again, a pre-pandemic opportunity provided by the state of Michigan under our former governor. And so that plan is very rich with information from residents and visitors to the downtown and business owners. And so I think the board has really continued to utilize that document as a guiding document and make sure that our discussions and our activities and the things that we're working on that are really in alignment. So I believe that if you were to go and look at the city's webpage in the downtown district and look at that development plan, that what I share here today on what we've been working on and what we're looking forward to the future, that you would see those parts and pieces within that plan and feel like, yes, I do think that the DDA is really working on these things. And it will be soon time for us to really look at that again and reflect on what we've done over the past 5 years or so and what we do into the future. So you can move on to the next one. So some recent successes. We brought back the facade grants for the downtown district that had been put on pause and a hold while the DDA really struggled with revenue and what was coming in from the tax base at the time. I don't know the exact date or year that it was put on pause, but had been a number of years since the DDA had awarded facade grants. So in 2023, we granted just shy of $15,000 to 3 projects in the downtown district. The cap was a $5,000 total for each project with a 50% match from those businesses. So really almost $30,000 went back into downtown businesses or downtown organizations, both by the business owner or the organization, and then as a match from the DDA. So those included things like improved entry doors that were handicap accessible, and things like windows and storefront windows that help to reduce costs for heating and cooling, improved facades like tuck pointing of brick structure portions, and then the Secretary of State building actually was, those were new windows that were put in the Secretary of State building, and the exposure of that very, very cool historic column that is there. So those were projects that came about through the DDA's facade grants. So in 2024, or I should say, our application window closed late 2023, and then these are funds for 2024. We did see an increase in the number of submitted applications. There's a slightly fewer total dollars, but still 3 projects, and the DDA has for their next meeting a potential sort of smaller round of a mid-year grant round, and really working to support some of the smaller projects that didn't quite have some of the parts and the pieces that were required for the grant approval. And so we have board members who are really working to support downtown business owners and downtown organizations to make sure that they bring really strong grants so that we can make sure that we fund those projects. So, and we have really been then utilizing those facade grants as storytelling opportunities to market the downtown district, to market what's going on here in Albion, and tell the organizations that are really committed to the downtown district and being here, want to reinvest in their properties and spaces. So facade grants is one of the parts that we really feel like we made growth on in the last year. Marketing is another big piece of the plan. So like Haley mentioned, we have also contributed into Albion's first ambassador position. And so this is a full-time position. This person wakes up every day working to tell the best of Albion and to reach as far as possible in as many ways as possible to tell all the great things that are happening in Albion. So there are stories about businesses, but they're about individuals, they're about organizations, they're about all the different parts and pieces that make up Albion. And so with that, there's been a relaunch of downtownalbion.com, enhancements to the downtown district with both print material boxes, if you've noticed those out and along Superior Street, as well as some of the QR code signage. So those direct visitors to the Downtown Albion website that's being regularly updated with new businesses. It's got a calendar of information and all those things. So that's a piece that is really we feel like helping to do a part of the DDA's work of marketing and really promoting, the downtown district. And then also last year, the DDA approved a formal process to support other creators of events in the downtown district. So we have an application for organizations that are putting on events that are here in the downtown district to request financial support from the DDA to support those events. So third, we've been caretakers officially of the farmers market for I think almost 4 years now. Continue to work on improving number of visitors there, and as well as our vendor base. Those are true chicken and the egg scenarios. What brings visitors to the farmer's market, it's vendors, but what really matters to vendors is how many visitors are there. So we continue to work on what are the levers that we can impact and influence to support both of those organizations and or entities as a part of that. So that is an area that I wish I had even bigger celebration towards. We're going to celebrate the small wins on that one. But we need to continue to work on increasing those visitors and the number of vendors, because I think the Albion community, our agricultural and our artisan community is so rich and strong, and it has a huge history, and the farmers market is a great way for us to feature those here in the community in a central spot. And like I said, we're very happy to be able to have partnered with Community Foundation, Greater Albion Chamber of Commerce, and the City of Albion to support the Albion Brand Ambassador position, because we really feel like it has helped us to move forward with some of the items that are in our development plan. You can go on to the next one. And I also realized, as I was reviewing a few things, we did a parking study in 2023, and I kind of forgot. And part of the reason I sort of forgot about that was that overarching was we have plenty of parking. We could do a lot more to maintain. So part of the DDA's discussions have been, how do we set some funding aside to make sure that we can maintain and improve the parking that we currently have? It's not that we need additional parking or access to parking. We actually have plenty of spots, but they're not well mapped out and labeled and all those things. So those are part of the things that we're really working on in the coming years. So we continue to work on long-term improvement plans for Stauffer Plaza. We were certainly disappointed when we were not awarded some of the placemaking grant funding in the latter part of the year. And so we're hopeful to continue to work on identifying grant funding opportunities and other ways that we can take and work on some smaller parts of a larger overhaul of Stauffer Plaza and improvement and placemaking for that. And then signage is a big piece, both for our trailways, parking. There's a lot of signage and wayfinding improvements that we can make within the downtown district. So that's a piece of the work that the DDA is undertaking this year and into next year. And that also sort of has gone along with a bit of a conversation and work about understanding the city's sound system that is in downtown, making sure that it is accessible and available for big events such as Festival of Forks, but that when we want music and different kinds of things, that's really ready, and it doesn't have to be a 5 or multiple week troubleshooting process to even get that going. So that's a conversation about wired versus wireless and wonderful things like that. The board also, as a part of our funding, or I should say our budget discussion in the latter part of the year, really committed to bringing in some grant funding to the DDA specifically, potentially for projects such as signage or the sound system or Stauffer Plaza. So those are, we feel like we have opportunities to apply for some smaller grants that make sense for the DDA. And so the DDA, all the board members really made a commitment to work on that in this coming year and to really identify some great opportunities for us. And then maintenance is another piece that the board has really been working on to understand how do we continue to maintain everything from the light poles to the Christmas lights to make sure that those things that we have don't need to be replaced fully in 5 or 10 years, that we could keep up on the maintenance. So we've been working with the city manager and the maintenance department to understand the needs within the downtown district of those items and understand what's within the scope and the capacity of city staff to be able to take on projects, or do we work in partnership to identify independent contractors in some of those situations. So those are parts that we're kind of working to understand as well. And like City Manager Snyder mentioned, communication has been a piece that we've really been working to make sure, so the newsletters, the online information, but also writing some updates with going into our newspapers just about what the DDA is working on is a part of the DDA's commitment to improving our communication with the downtown residents and business owners, but also the community as a whole about what is going on in the downtown district. And so it doesn't go without certainly challenges. We continue to have unfilled seats on the board. So if anybody here isn't a downtown resident or has a vested interest in downtown, please apply. But also I think building consensus around projects and making sure that all stakeholders are included in conversations and that they are really help move the community and make sure that this is a space and an area that is attractive to visitors, and that we continue to bring more and more people into the downtown district, and it's a positive experience for them. And really continuing to understand the impacts and the needs of downtown businesses in the district. You know, they certainly are a huge piece of where the downtown gets their revenue. So it's there's a lot of parts like, the hotel sort of taxes goes to Visitors Bureau, but ours is primarily from property taxes and then personal property of business owners within the district. So it's important for us to really stay connected to those stakeholders in the area, and so that just is challenging. And then I think the opportunities that we have we are really starting to progress through some plans that were put in place 5, 7, 10 years ago, which were absolutely needed projects and plans for us to defer property tax, either increments or to reimburse brownfield. That was the way for the DDA and the city to support projects like the hotel and some of the other buildings that have been restored and impacted within the downtown district that have new businesses in those buildings. So we're starting to move through and see some of the new revenue or increases in property taxes from those come into both the DDA and the brownfield and the revolving loan fund. And so the board has really been talking a lot and understanding and building our own background knowledge on brownfield plans and how some of those dollars that are now coming in, how we really ensure that they are spent well in Albion and potentially in the downtown district, because it's kind of new for us to have some of this funding in these ways available to the DDA, to the EDC, to the Brownfield Board. This is kind of new. So those are opportunities that we have that we're really working on. I think the small projects are really good opportunities and good potential wins for us. Those are those opportunities. I think we're getting close to maybe where the DDA could have a part-time director in the coming years, just based on revenue and revenue projections that we have over the next few years, which would really help us to meet some of the needs on connecting with downtown businesses and, again, improving our communication. And those public and private partnerships continue to be strong, and they continue to sort of come to us and make themselves known, such as the Battle Creek Real Estate Agents Group has an interest in supporting some placemaking projects here in this area because they support the Calhoun County area. So those are opportunities, those are some private and public partnerships that I think if we continue to work to put ourselves in a really good place of thinking about the future and what could be some projects, then we're better able to capitalize on those opportunities when they come to us. I think that might be the last of my slides.